Good evening, Prescott Valley. Welcome to the Parks and Recreation Commission meeting of Tuesday, June 9th, 2015. Kathy, can we have a roll call?
Commissioner Gummer?
Yes.
Commissioner Frere?
Here.
Commissioner Avalos?
Present.
Chairperson Brinkman?
Here.
Vice Chairperson Tissot?
Here.
Commissioner Fallman?
Here.
Commissioner Trevini?
Here. Our next item is approval of agenda. If everybody's had a chance to look at the agenda, can we have a motion to approve it as written?
I'll make a motion to approve.
And a second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Next item is approval of minutes for May 12th, 2015. These are the regular meeting minutes. If we've all had a chance to look at those and there's no corrections, can we have a motion to approve?
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes from the May 12th meeting.
Okay, and Elaine seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? And that carries. Okay, moving on to announcements. Our first item is we're going to have a presentation. And Pat, we're going to let you introduce Patrick and give us a little background.
Well, commissioners and guests, it's my pleasure to introduce Patrick Kell from the International Mountain Biking Association. He's the Southwest Regional Director for IMBA. I asked him here to this group to give his presentation, or the IMBA presentation of Better Living Through Trails. There's been a lot of work done at Fane Park recently, and with all the momentum that the Prescott Circle Trails garnered over recent months and recent years, I thought it'd be appropriate to have Patrick come speak to us, and so the commissioners can hear somebody else other than me show the benefits of trails for the community. So with that, I'd like to introduce Patrick Kell.
Hello, commissioners. My name is Patrick Kell. I work for IMBA, the International Mountain Bicycling Association. I'm the Southwest Regional Director, and I live in Prescott, so very close to here. The region that I work in is Southern California, Southern Nevada, Southern Utah, Arizona, and New Mexico. And my work involves a lot of meetings and outreach and advocacy with state parks, city parks, county parks, all manner of recreation departments. I work a lot with the BLM, with the Forest Service. I work with chambers of commerce, county economic development groups to put our mission into place. Our mission is right here on the screen: protect, create, and enhance great mountain biking experiences. And because I live in Prescott, I know Pat, and he invited me to come along this evening and chat about our work. I've lived in the Prescott area for about 3 years. Before living here, I lived up in Vermont. In Vermont, I worked for the state parks. I was a ranger. I worked for the Vermont Youth Conservation Corps. I worked for in the mountain bike advocacy business up there as well. I'm obviously not from Arizona, neither from Vermont. I'm from Belfast, Northern Ireland, and I've lived in the USA for about 14 years. So I'm going to do a presentation. This typically takes a bit longer. I'll try and move a little bit faster through some of the slides, and I'll dwell on some of the more important ones. This presentation is called Better Living Through Trails, and it's basically a presentation on what trails can do for a community, how they can impact community health, how they can attract tourists to come and stay and play. And then I'll talk a little bit about the process for developing trails, and certainly I'll talk a little bit about what's going on in Prescott and the success that's been seen over there. A little bit about the organisation. We're a non-profit 501c3, so we're not a property developer or a destination development company. We're simply a non-profit organisation based on membership. We have about 80,000 members all around the country. We are represented in all 50 states and around the world. We have staff who go regularly to Australia and New Zealand and Switzerland and Germany and France and China, Hong Kong, Mexico, working on mountain bike trail projects. We have literally hundreds of IMBA clubs and chapters all around the country, and indeed the Prescott Mountain Bike Alliance are an IMBA chapter, and that means that we share membership dues with folks from this area who join, and we handle a lot of the administration of sending out reminder letters to pay your dues, and they can use our 501c3 status and such. We're supported a lot by the mountain bike industry, by all the big bike companies. They support our work through grants. We're supported by Subaru. I have one of these Subarus that you see right here. Mine's parked outside. And then we're funded by all kinds of corporations and grants from various agencies. We have about 60 staff. Our office is based up in Boulder, Colorado. About 20 staff are based there, and the rest of us are all around the country and all around the world. So there are 10 regional directors. I'm the Southwest Regional Director. We have Pacific Northwest, Mid-Atlantic, Southeast, Great Lakes, etc. We have lobbyists and an attorney who work a lot in Washington, D.C. with various federal agencies up there. We do have a program called the IMBA Trail Care Crew, which I think would be very exciting here in Prescott Valley. These folks, Jordan and Lanny, are on the road for 2 years, and they're sort of scheduled about 6 months in advance, and they will come and do a weekend-long series of presentations. They'll do a presentation for the Parks Department on planning and designing trails. They'll conduct a trail building school with volunteers. They'll do various presentations over the course of a weekend, and they've been to Prescott several times with the Prescott Mountain Bike Alliance, and I think it would be awesome to have them come here to Prescott Valley. I could certainly work with Pat to try and schedule that for next year. So some numbers about mountain biking. There are obviously millions of people mountain bike, more than 1 in 5 Americans over the age of 16. It's definitely one of the most favoured activities for young people. It's a great way to get kids outdoors and healthy and active. We hear a lot about childhood obesity these days, and it's a wonderful way to get kids outside. 1.5 times more mountain bikers than golfers, and a pretty significant voting strength as well. So let's talk a little bit about trails. IMBA sees trails as cost-effective facilities, recreation facilities. They can lead to economic revitalization. They're really good for the community, and they provide safe surroundings for outdoor recreation. So some examples here of the costs for developing various types of recreation facilities. Golf courses can cost up to $1 million per hole. Golfing's a great activity. I can't imagine. I wouldn't want to be trying to manage a golf course in the Southwest. The cost of maintaining the greens must be pretty astronomical. Playgrounds can cost hundreds of thousands of dollars. Skate parks can cost up to $25,000 per 10,000 square feet. Paved bike paths can cost up to $1 million per mile. And natural surface trails, that's a mountain bike trail, a mountain bike single track. It can be of an intermediate level difficulty. It can be advanced. It can be for beginners. And they can cost anywhere from $10,000 to $50,000 per mile. So trails are good for economic revitalization in communities. They can lead to community transformation. For example, parcels of land that are maybe abandoned, or they don't fit into sort of a property development pattern very well, but you've got small sort of 1 and 2 or 5, 10-acre lots. Bike parks are very popular. Here's the bike park down in, this is Mesa, Arizona, very recently opened. So on the east side of the Phoenix metro area, and this is about a 10-acre site, and they developed a bike park. So you can see right down sort of at the bottom end, there are little rolling wooden features there for kids and families and beginners to sort of get comfortable on a bike. And then there are some more advanced features. So this isn't a big site. It's maybe, like I said, 10 acres or so. It's very accessible from neighbourhoods and schools. It's got parking and bathrooms. It's not a remote sort of backcountry destination. It's very much a front country urban park. And these parks are extremely popular. There is a little mini pump track right downtown Prescott, right in Granite Creek Park, and it's probably only a half an acre, and it's a little squeezed into sort of a corner of Granite Creek Park. So the economic impacts of single track trails, mountain bike and tourism is really popular. Sort of a figure that I like to quote is in Fruita, Colorado, which is Mesa County. Mountain biking brings in $25 million a year just to that town of Fruita, and indeed 15% of the budget for the the entire county is from mountain biking. So it's not 0.5% or 1%, but 15% of the money that comes into Mesa County every year comes in from mountain bike tourism. And indeed, I'm working on lots of other similar projects. We're working on a big project in Caliente, Nevada, with the BLM, with the city, with the State Parks Department. And to date, the planning for that has been funded by the BLM, by the County Economic Development Agency, and by the city lodging tax. The Caliente is a tiny little town of around 1,000 people, and they've got a couple of $59 motels. But they saw that allocating $10,000 from their city lodging tax was a good thing to help the trail design process. And in my mind, $10,000 from a tiny little town like that was a very significant investment. We're working on a similar design project in Kanab, Utah, so just north of Fredonia, Arizona. And we're doing a very similar process there. We're designing an entire mountain bike trail destination all around the town of Kanab. My co-workers are there at the minute. They've been there for several weeks, and they're designing a whole trail system around Kanab. So just some facts and figures. I'll run through some of these pretty quickly. But outdoor recreation in general, the entire field of outdoor recreation, brings in about $650 billion in direct sales per year. So that's everything from Dick's Sporting Goods to local bike shops to the fees that people spend when they're camping, to the gas that people buy whenever they're traveling to go riding. $646 billion in sales per year. Folks buy tents, they buy all the equipment. I know that I travel a lot to mountain bike, and the general number that's used is that the mountain bikers spend about $100 per day if they're traveling for a day visit. So say someone's driving from Phoenix to Sedona for the day, they're going to spend about $100 for that one-day trip. Overnight trips are about $227 per overnight, so that's the breakfast and dinner and your accommodations and such. And then you're buying a T-shirt in the local bike shop, you're in the gas station. So about $100 for a day, $227 overnight are kind of the industry statistics. We've seen that mountain bike access to trails, not just mountain bike trails, but access to a trail system around your community in general, can lead to increased property values. This study was completed by the Bikes Belong Coalition, and they found that homeowners will pay up to $9,000 more to be within 1,000 feet of a trail system. It's pretty significant. Mountain biking is obviously good for local bike shops and retailers. 60% of shops see an increase in sales when trails are built. And there's almost 15 million bicycles sold per year in the USA. People will ride more. 15% of users spent more on bikes and accessories when new trails are built, and the average spending increases by $100 when there are access to new trails. So we'll talk a little bit about the health benefits of single-track trails. Excuse me. I'm also working on a project in Tucson, and the Tucson City Parks, the county parks are involved. Davis-Monthan Air Force Base, because it's property leased from them. Mayor Rothschild is involved, and we brought Tucson Medical Center in to learn about the project. And Tucson Medical Center, through they have a community support department. They committed $25,000 for the master plan of a bike park, similar to the slide I showed in Mesa. We're doing a similar one in Tucson, and the Tucson Medical Center committed $25,000 towards the master planning of that entire site. Studies have showed that North Carolina University study, 57% of folks who responded would exercise more if trails were built close by. Let's see. Trails are great for a great way to get young people outdoors. When I had the conversation in Tucson with Tucson Medical Center, it was exactly what they were working on. They fund healthy food programs, they fund running programs to get girls and young women outdoors. And when we presented a project to them to discuss the development of mountain bike trails, they really jumped at the opportunity. Indeed, tomorrow I'm driving down to Sierra Vista. I'm meeting with a foundation down there, and the foundation are solely focused on health and recreation initiatives in Santa Cruz and Cochise counties. So that's another opportunity where I'm going to go down to Sierra Vista, talk about the health benefits of mountain bike trails and trail access in general, from neighbourhoods, from schoolyards, from Main Street. It's not just a matter of me wanting to develop trails for myself in really remote locations. We want to develop trails that will get lots more people outdoors and healthy and active, and make it really easy for people to get on their bikes and find a trail very simply. Just some information here about how kids are attracted to mountain biking. It's definitely very appealing for girls and young women, and studies have shown that girls are more likely to participate if if the barriers to entry are removed. So some of the key elements of developing a community trail system. The first one is to get the community involved, and IMBA are very transparent with this. When we are invited to talk to anyone or feel that there's a place where we can develop a trail system, we like to get all the different groups involved, and even those folks that may not support what we do or may not want to see a trail system developed, but we certainly are very transparent in our work so that everyone knows what we're thinking and what we're planning. And I think this slide is really important to foster a sustainable organization. Like I mentioned, in Prescott, we have the Prescott Mountain Bike Alliance, and the way IMBA chapters are established is that they use a series of zip codes as their territory, and then IMBA, through our office in Boulder, Colorado, we do all the mailings for that zip code range, and Prescott Valley is within the zip code range of the Greater Prescott Mountain Bike Association. So there's already a really well-established mountain bike club in Prescott, and I found it quite serendipitous that I moved to Prescott from Vermont. I'd never been in the Southwest, and I picked Prescott to live, and it is absolutely the most organized and efficient mountain bike group of volunteers that I've ever encountered. And I use them as an example when I travel all around the Southwest. I use Prescott Mountain Bike Alliance as an example of a really well-organized, highly functioning group. They're really good on the social component. They have fundraiser events. They have family races, family rides on Sundays. They have road trips where they'll go in to check out other places. They're very active with building trails. We had a volunteer day just this past weekend. And then on the top of that triangle, they work very cooperatively with the city parks and with the Forest Service, the Prescott National Forest. Developing good trails is a priority for us. On the left, that's an old trail that was built improperly. It doesn't look steep, but it breaks the rules of how steep a trail should be. And what happens is it just washes away. On the right, when the trail is built properly and follows the contours of the land, it sheds water. It doesn't become a drain in itself. So water flows across the trail rather than along it. And what you end up with is a sustainable trail that stays the way it was built and lasts for a long time. So here, this slide is actually part of the Prescott Circle Trail. Just to the top right, as we're looking, quite literally is the letter P on the mountain. So this photograph is looking towards Lynx Lake and Prescott Valley, sort of coming out this way. And you can see the trail snaking down the mountain, kind of doing a series of S curves. You can see the top leg, like way up there at the top. And that's a new section of the Prescott Circle Trail, which is now finished. It's 54 miles. And you can get on it in various places. You can do short sections. You can do longer sections if you want. And folks are traveling from all around Arizona. They're coming to ride the Prescott Circle Trail. So it's a really well-built trail. It's laid out at a mellow grade. Still has phenomenal views. Still a very exciting attraction for advanced riders. But it's very sustainable. It's going to look like this in 50 years' time. This is another section of it, so you can see the dells and the lakes back sort of in the top right of the photograph there. So you can see it's not an extremely difficult trail. It gets you to some beautiful places. And this is sort of the flavour of the trail changes as it traverses around the city. But this new piece is several miles, and it was a grant that IMBA secured and worked with the city and with the Youth Conservation Corps to get this new piece built. And this is literally, the P is kind of just up the hill to the right there from those riders. Like I said, lowering the barrier of entry is really important. Mountain biking can have a pretty sort of extreme image, and that's what sells bikes, and that's what sells that's kind of the image that people aspire to. The reality is that it's like going to a ski area. The image of people jumping off extreme features is what sells skis. But you go to Flagstaff ski area on a Saturday, and it's mums and dads, and they're on the green slopes and the blue slopes. That's the majority of what they're doing. So you got to provide the very beginner stuff, and you got to provide the very difficult stuff. But the bulk of the trails are for families and folks who want to get out and enjoy the outdoors. And you want to encourage people to get outside. So removing those barriers to entry, whether it's the physical location of the trail, you want it to be easy to get to. Whether it's the surface of the trail, you want it to be relatively easy so that folks aren't intimidated to get started on a mountain bike. Creating excellent trail maps is really important. And again, the City of Prescott and the Forest Service and the Prescott Mountain Bike Alliance have done a wonderful job. They have a phenomenal, this isn't the Prescott map, this is just an example, but the City of Prescott have a really good trail map. It's really accurate. It's updated on a regular basis. It's available in lots of places. The bike shops and different stores around town all carry the Prescott Trails map. MTB Project, this is an online database of trails, and it's an app that you can put on your smartphone, on your iPhone or whatever. And IMBA managed this program, and there are about 40,000 miles of trails all around the country on this app that you can have on your phone. And it's a wonderful resource that I use it when I travel. You simply plug in your location, you type it in, and it'll show you all the trails, and the symbol will move as you're on the trail and show you where you're going so you don't get lost. And there's about 1,000 miles a month that get added onto this by riders. People just upload the information themselves, and it's becoming a really phenomenal resource for mountain bikers as they travel. And indeed, a lot of the Prescott area trails are on this app. Good signage is really important. You want folks to feel that they have it's fun to have the adventure of getting out into the woods and getting out into the mountains, but being able to find your way back to your hotel or back to your neighborhood is really important as well. So really good, simple signage is really important if we want to develop quality networks. So some information about destination mountain biking. These are the folks that will travel to locations. About 80% of mountain bikers take at least an overnight trip per year. 4.6 nights is the average length of stay. That's like folks, driving from here to Moab for the weekend, or Park City for the weekend, or folks going, on the East Coast. There's a lot of destinations as well. But just under half prefer to camp, and the other half prefer to stay in bed and breakfasts and inns and hotels. A little profile now about the target audience, and if we're thinking about the economic impacts of mountain biking, mountain bike tourism, mountain bike tourists are certainly a really good demographic to attract to your community. About 88% male. We're seeing a very significant rise in female participation. Again, in Prescott, there's a wonderful women's mountain bike group in Prescott. Every Wednesday evening, there's 5, 10, 15, 20 of them. All abilities, all ages. There's actually a new mountain bike guiding company just opened in Prescott, and it's 2 women that have started that. So female participation in mountain biking is really growing, which is great to see. The average age of a mountain biker is 43, 73% college or postgraduate degree, $106,000 median household income, so certainly well above the national average, and over half of the folks are in professional managerial positions. So it's a group of folks that will come. They'll spend $100 a day. They'll spend $227 overnight to stay and recreate in your community. Getting local business support is really important, whether it's motels that cater to allowing people to bring their bikes into the bedroom, or having a hose in the parking lot around behind the building where you can clean your bike, or a work stand where folks can work on their bikes. But getting local businesses to understand the importance and embrace mountain biking is extremely helpful. And then advertising other amenities. If a family comes on vacation, they might not all want to ride. You might find that maybe the mum wants to go and ride, and the dad takes the kids to Jerome for the day, or to the water park, or somewhere else, or out for a hike. So advertising all the other amenities in the area is a really important piece. It's not just about the trails, it's about what the community has to offer in general. I think that's pretty much, let's see. Yep, that's pretty much it for me. So like I said, we have a phenomenal group in Prescott, the Prescott Mountain Bike Alliance. They do a wonderful job and great relationships with the Forest Service. I don't know the specific landscape around Prescott Valley. I imagine the National Forest is a pretty big chunk on the south side. I imagine there are big parcels of city-owned land, and I think there are phenomenal opportunities. I understand that that Glassford Hill is maybe sort of half city of Prescott, half Prescott Valley, something like that. That could be an opportunity to develop a whole trail network in the Glassford Hill, and I'm sure lots of other areas as well around Prescott Valley. And that's pretty much it for me. I'd love to take any questions.
Well, thank you, Patrick. That was really outstanding. I think you've changed my perception a little bit, too, because I was one of those people, even though Commissioner Fryer is a mountain biker and we get a lot of information from him, I think of them as more the extreme on the trail. Most of our trails are multi-use, so we have different people walking or jogging, and to see that that's compatible with the mountain biking and it's more of a family activity, I think that really is something that impresses me. And you're correct, we do have some areas that in the future we hope, if we can get the approvals, Glassford Hill is one of the areas to do some further development. So that's something I think we may be interested in the future.
Excellent, thank you.
And Patrick, real quick, you mentioned specifically Caliente and Kanab, and I know you've been working on those projects for a while. And you're in the design phase. You said, how close to actually building trails are they up there? How long is that process?
I would say in Caliente we'll be building. There are a couple of pretty significant grants that the different partners are trying to secure at the minute, and I think that in Caliente we'll be building trails by the end of this year, and we started the whole process probably in earnest about 18 months ago, about 2 years ago. So probably about two and a half years to start the process to actually getting things implemented.
Okay. And then just real quick too, what about private land issues? I mean, the Prescott Valley is surrounded by a lot of private land also, as well as state land. Does IMBA reach out to private landowners and help with the negotiation process with easements and such? Or?
Yeah, we do have an attorney on our staff who can help with the language. Every situation is different, and there are different ways of getting permanent easements and rights, purchasing easements and rights of way and such. They're all sort of case specific, but we do have an IMBA's attorney who will help a community with the wording or whatever it is to get the access.
Because I just know from experience, property owners, they see the Mountain Dew commercials and think that's all theirs, and they're concerned about liability crossing their private land. So,
and in general, in situations like that, I recommend that the crossings on private land are pretty infrequent. One crossing to get to the bigger parcel of public land is usually the better way, rather than designing a trail system that's a patchwork of multiple private landowners, because once land gets bought or someone changes their mind, then access is lost. So keeping it through one parcel and focusing on getting that right and getting onto the larger parcel of public land is usually the way to go.
Very good. Any other comments or questions?
Yeah, I have a question. How compatible are these trails with pedestrians as far as, multi-use and so forth? Is there like a certain areas that are widened so pedestrians and bicyclists can kind of walk, or is it?
No, that's a great question. Certainly the new trail that we've built right under the letter P, we've been really thoughtful in how it's laid out so you can see a long way ahead, so you can see if you're going to encounter people coming the other way, whether they're equestrians or hikers. And then there are things that we can do, like for example, the Prescott Mountain Bike Alliance have been really diligent in the Granite Basin area, and they've actually done things to the trail, like placed big boulders. The Mountain Bike Club have done it to slow mountain bikers down in areas that are high use with, equestrians and hikers. So the main things are how the trail's laid out in the first place. Really good sight lines, clearing the brush from within a switchback so you can see that there's someone, coming around the corner towards you. So getting the layout right is the really important piece. And then sometimes you got to take the sort of afterwards, you got to put those sort of band-aids in place. And the Mountain Bike Club in Prescott are the ones that actually initiated it in Prescott Valley. They put the boulders in place so mountain bikers have to go really slow, and therefore if they're going to encounter a hiker in that area, they're going at minimal speed.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
That's very good.
Awesome.
Patrick, thank you very much. I appreciate that.
Thanks, Commissioners.
Thank you
Appreciate
so
it.
much.
Bye.
Thank you.
Okay, let's move on to our next item, and that will be Brian telling us about Movies Under the Stars.
Thank you, Chairman Brinkman. Yes, bring your attention, the Arts and Culture Commission has successfully presented for a number of years Movies Under the Star opportunities for our public to join in on Thursday evenings with movies starting at 7:45. And our upcoming schedule for movies beginning this Thursday evening, the 11th of June, will be The Princess Bride, a romantic comedy, followed then by Star Wars, The Clone Wars, an animated thriller, and then we'll finish our season with the musical Grease, and that will conclude our season schedule on June 25th. So we encourage everyone to come out, enjoy themselves, bring their blankets, lawn chairs, all of those goodies, perhaps even a bucket of chicken or a pizza. Come out and enjoy the nice lawn here at the Civic Center and partake in the benefits and free admission, free parking, free all those goodies and the Movies Under the Stars during our season of theatrical performance at the Theater on the Green here at the Civic Center complex.
What kind of attendance have we seen so far?
We've been averaging somewhere right around 350 per evening, and of course as the temperatures rise and gain, the crowds grow right along with that. We've had numbers that have reached into the 600s and 700s throughout the season, and definitely believe that these three movie titles that we just announced will definitely draw in those crowds. We began a very cool, blustery evening, and we were right at that 350 number. And last weekend I was quite pleasantly surprised, being that you looked around over the hills and boy, you thought some storms were going to roll in and the winds were pretty significant. But we had another very strongly attended night that evening as well. So encourage everyone to come out and enjoy.
That's great. Yeah, I know the weather's been a factor, but hopefully it'll just improve and we'll have a really good finish to that program. Okay, how about swim lessons?
Yes, our Session 3 swim lessons are coming your way. So those that have little ones or those that might have a little fear of the water, we highly encourage their attendance at these kinds of opportunities out at Mountain Valley Splash. The sign-ups will take place on June 18th and 19th from 9 a.m. until noon until full. And again, this is conducted at Mountain Valley Splash, located in Mountain Valley Park, and that's 8600 Nace Lane is our address out there. If you have additional questions, we encourage you to call our aquatics facility, and that is 775-3165. They'll be able to give you more direct information not only on swim lessons, but open swim opportunities, our low-impact aerobics, lap swimming, and a myriad of other activities, enjoyment that is held out there, including rental of the facility. So if you have a party or a birthday idea or those kinds of things, or even from a corporate standpoint, we're available to you for those services.
Let's see, the swim lesson sign-ups have to be done at the pool, right?
That is correct.
Okay, so that's not online. How about rental of the facilities? Can that be done?
That also would be done at Mountain Valley Splash, yes, sir.
Splash, okay, thank you. Okay, next we have the department updates, and you're up first, Brian.
All righty. As you can see from the department's report, quite a few different activities are underway, from the planning of upcoming events and activities in support of both town-sponsored functions as well as other community groups that have come to us seeking to utilize town properties. In addition to that, presentation at the Citizens Academy on behalf of the department. Quite a bit of work and planning with the Central Yavapai Fire District for all of our efforts going forward with our upcoming 4th of July. End-of-year follow-through with our Little League groups and their preparations for their upcoming tournaments. We completed a very successful Battle of the Band, barring all the weather and elements that took place there, and extreme congratulations and thanks to the flexibility of our team in making that go forward, as well as our community partners and vendors that were active with our different activities that we had going on out there. Making preparations for the upcoming Rough Rider men's soccer program. And in addition to that, quite a bit of activity taking place in getting our aquatics facility. As you see, a number of different improvements that took place, whether it be in our restroom facilities or our splash pad or our sun shade structures. Those types of things were definitely in play. We also celebrated the anniversary of one of our park staff, Mr. Gilbert Garcia. So congratulations to Gilbert on another fine anniversary and employment here with our town. And then a number of different activities coming forward with our Arts and Culture Division. So with that being said, in addition to that, quick review of the monthly statistics. As you know, next month, in the month of July, we'll wrap up the end of our season, so it's nice to look at some of our current statistical accomplishments, and I think they're well within reach of some of the goals that we had set forward. The big things are in regards to our anticipated paid attendance. We're within less than 1% of achieving that goal, as well as our sponsored attendance. We're actually up nearly 30%. And our total attendance, nearly 17% above our anticipated goal, and our revenues for the year were within almost 7% of achievement there. And as you well know, the month of June will highly reflect a lot of our aquatics attendance and participation. So I'm feeling very comfortable and confident in regards to those goals that we set, which were above the bar from last season, and making those things go forward. But beyond that, I would be happy to answer any questions the Commission might have on my report, the Department's report as a whole, as well as our statistical analysis for the month.
Brian, I have a question. You met with Larry Tarkowski, Ryan Judy, and Norm Davis about the roundabout.
Yes, ma'am.
Will that impact us at all?
As far as from a recreational standpoint,
Yeah.
no. Unfortunately, what I would like to report, though, is that the project has been terminated. We will not be moving forward with a roundabout at that location, but we will be experiencing a additional lane development on Lakeshore. So that will take place between Civic Circle and Glassford Hill at that particular location. And then the Art and Culture Commission will be involved in regards to some development along the north side of Lakeshore, and perhaps some artistic development in that location as well.
Okay, very good. Any other questions? Or
Just one, Ron. Brian, future plans for Fane Park? I see we're looking at waterfall repair, possibly?
Yes, that one actually is underway as we speak. We've prior to this, we've had some complications via some of the storms that have not come about generally this time of the year, and so it's basically just kind of like a vacuum pump, if you will. It takes that water and then sends it through as an aeration device, and then the pump itself is taking water out of the lake, pumping it up the hill, and running and trickling down in the waterfall. Both of those have experienced a little bit of debris intake, but now we're experiencing something different with our waterfall. So we're in the process of investigating that, making sure it may not be an electrical line issue or any other elements, or hopefully we haven't lost that pump.
It'll still be something we're looking to keep.
Very much so. Both of those features really help in regards to the aeration and maintaining of that fishery. So it's crucial that we have that, not to mention both of them are very aesthetically pleasing.
And, Rose Creek access repairs, that's where the floods washed out the culverts.
That is correct. And we're in that process of review by our grant that we have with Arizona Game and Fish. A portion of that is tied to that as well. But unfortunately, we're also reaching a point in time with upcoming monsoons, so we're probably going to be delayed even a little bit further in doing those repairs there.
Any other comments or questions? Okay, we'll move on, and the next item is the chairperson's report, and this month I really don't have anything to report, so that's it. We're going to move right on to Tree Advisory Board business, and the first item is the tree grant.
Yes. On both of these grants, if I can, with your permission, Chairman, just we'll kind of wrap the two together. We have completed our first quarter reports for each one of these Arizona forestry grants that we've received. Basically, we're right on task with the items of responsibility that we have in reporting back, the volunteers that are associated with doing that, speakers and vendors. So that has been submitted. They have been received and accepted. And so what we're actually in the preparations of now, and being that this is June, this will be our second quarter report. Ms. Kathy Wise and I will be working on completing those. It is our anticipated goal that our second quarter report will actually complete the grant process with us. And so therefore all of the anticipated reimbursing monies that we requested would actually be delivered and made available to us. So our Trimble unit is taken care of, and any other of the reimbursable items such as our vendor that has completed their street tree inventories, and those items will be fully in place by the end of the fiscal year, and we'll be ready to complete each of those grants fully 100% and accomplish our goals.
Sounds really good. Must be time to move on and get some more grants.
Actually, you are correct. We're anticipating those announcements coming out in August, September. And with that, we're hoping to be able to write for an inventory on our park trees. So it's very exciting. We're hoping that opportunity is made available to us.
Yeah, these grants really have, I think, given us an opportunity to get a lot of education ourselves and a lot of opportunity that will benefit the town of Prescott Valley in the future, ongoing years, as we look at how trees do with inventories and involving the public and our community tree care workshop. I hope we can do that every year. I think that was really a significant first year this year. So, okay, we'll move on, and old business, Antelope Park.
Yes, thank you, commissioners, that were able to come out and join with us at Antelope Park, where we engaged the neighborhood and those fine folks that came out and helped give us some guidance and feedback in regards to creating the vision for the upcoming playground development. We've captured that information. We have that ready to go. I'm also happy to report that probably by the end of this week, we will also be submitting a grant to Lowe's Corporation, and we're very, very hopeful that they'll be able to provide us with potentially up to, we're requesting for $35,000 additional dollars to be put into this project. And so if we're able to do that, then our planned completion date will be November 3rd. And we'll have everything put into place and ready to go. The data that I have right now that we captured from the neighborhood will be put into play and then shared with a number of our different playground vendors that are part of our state contracts that we have available. They'll be able to put together then proposals, and we're going to go ahead and ask them for two variations in their proposal. The one for the allocated monies that would be made available to us in the next upcoming fiscal year budget, and then with the potential of the Lowe's grant coming on board as well. So we'll be asking for those two different scales of development, and then once we have everything established and hopefully with approvals via Lowe's, we'll be able to move that project to fulfillment. And like I indicated, we're hoping for that November 1st time frame. The purpose of that is that in October, there is a volunteer campaign during that same time frame. So we're going to engage in that as well, as also work with our local Lowe's store and perhaps them being able to assist us with a Pennies for Playgrounds campaign. So those are our anticipations for right now. And no matter what, we'll have a fantastic new playground there at Antelope Park for utilization by the neighborhood and the community as a whole. So very excited about it.
So is it anticipated if the Lowe's grant comes through, that the additional equipment will tie in to what we're procuring or be separately located?
Yes,
Tied
it
together?
would be all there at that one location. We would just grow our scale.
Excellent.
As long as it fits within those parameters, and we can make that happen, as well as even perhaps grow in height, we will do so and be able to enrich that particular site.
That would be quite impressive.
Yes. But we will have both quotes, and we'll be moving forward either direction, whether the Lowe's grant is awarded or not. We'll be ready.
Very good.
What is the volunteer campaign you just referenced? Is that with the town or is that with Lowell?
It's actually a national campaign, and I apologize, that title has completely escaped me at this moment. But it is it's a national campaign based upon volunteering and giving back to the community in that way, and it's a cleanup, it's a enrichment, it's a betterment by volunteers for the benefit of the community.
Okay, any other comments?
Yeah, I like to say what I really like to see, or what I like seeing about Antelope Park is how the department is actually stepping forward and making these changes as needed, instead of as we've seen in Tonto North, where the community had gone so long without any playground equipment. So I really have to commend you guys for acknowledging what needed to be done before it actually started to fail, had to be removed, and then, essentially having the community not have that equipment, as we heard from, residents from certain areas. So
Definitely.
I like to share. I did bring the kiddos out there, and the first thing that they said was, "Wow, this park can use some love." So I'd really just like to thank you for taking the step forward and taking care of that before it.
Well, thank you.
Thank you.
I would have liked to have been further ahead of it in doing those, but unfortunately, we all know what our economic situations were, and it does affect everybody, and local government being one of those situations. But yes, we are moving forward. And the other nice thing, especially at Tonto, we had community partners that came on board with us too, and that was critical, especially for Tonto, in doing those things. So that it does make you feel good, and no, that is not an agenda that we wish to maintain with that period of drought, if you will, of doing those things. So yes, we're very happy and excited for the folks at Antelope, because it'll be definitely a betterment, especially with all the work that preceded that, with the new ramadas that are there, and the picnic tables, and the expansion of the turf, and the walking path, and all of these other things. This will almost really be that little cherry on top of the sundae of doing those things, and boy, will that be an active location, whether you're in the athletics or sports, or whether you just want to get out there and play and roll and frolic and goof around on the swings and all those other goodies. So it'll definitely be a community asset out there.
Good stuff. Thank you.
Any other comments? Okay, well, let us move on to new business, and the first item is election of officers. So we have a chairperson, vice chair, and a secretary that we elect every year. And you can nominate a slate or individuals for those offices. So I think all of you are familiar with the process, so let's just open it up. Do we have any nominations for the chairperson?
I would like to nominate Mr. Brinkman to continue his service as chairman.
I'll second it.
Are there any other nominations?
Nope.
I think Ron's done a fabulous job. He's learned from one of the best.
All right, well,
Wait, I'm not done yet.
Oh.
I'm not done yet. But no, Ron has done a fabulous job. He does his research. He does all the meetings. He does the tree committees. He's been a fabulous chairperson for this commission, and I would definitely agree he needs another term.
ow. Do we have any nominations for vice chair? Maybe we can do this all in one vote.
I'd like to nominate Michelle to retain her position as vice chair.
I'll second that.
Yeah, that's probably excellent. And then stepping up. And then are there any nominations for secretary?
Okay, I think we should keep the slate as it has been and just vote the whole slate back in.
Okay.
And who is our secretary?
Pat.
Pat?
Danny.
Or Danny?
Danny.
Not Pat.
It's a tough job, let me tell you.
Well, yeah, wearing the skirt. Anyway, okay. So do we have a motion to elect Ron Brinkman as chair, Michelle as vice chair, and Danny as secretary?
I'll make that motion to the election of officers as Chair Ron Brinkman, Vice Chair Michelle Dussault, and the Secretary will be Danny Avalos.
Do we have, okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? And so the officers are reelected for one more final term. That applies to you, too. You can't.
Well, she's being groomed for your role.
She'll be chair,
Yeah.
Everyone steps up.
Okay, our next item is recognition of service. So Commissioner Buzz Gummer is leaving us. This is his last meeting. And Buzz has been on the commission for 19 years, right? Wow. And Buzz was on the commission when I came in, and I had absolutely no clue what was going on. Buzz has helped me for years to understand how the commission works and really helped me see what the town needs. So, I want to thank you personally just for all the help you've given me. And then as a commission and a town, we have done so much. If you go and pull up our annual report, it can really kind of give you a summary. And we're working on development guidelines now, and we've done things over the last, I'm going to say 5 years that really have modernized and brought the town up to speed and improved all of our parks and recreation programs. So thank you. And then I'm going to just kind of open it up to the other commissioners that may want to say a word. And I'd like to remind you, this isn't the roast. The roast will be later.
Well, Buzz, I'll go next. So, like Ron, when I first started with the commission, my first go around, you and a few other folks were on the commission and definitely had a guiding vision, as well as a very nice grounding in where we had come from. So that historical aspect I found hugely valuable to continue inspiring me to move forward. And I very much appreciate that about the original time I was on the commission and now the second time that I've come back. Doesn't even feel like there was any time in between, as a matter of fact. And the other piece that I will forever appreciate about and treasure about you is your humor. Always, always your humor. So it's been great being a part of this commission with you, and I wish you the best in your next endeavor, which I know you're going to do really well at.
Thank you.
Yeah.
The old girlfriend next.
Should we save the best for last?
Oh, no, I'm not going to be last. Anyway, Buzz, I can remember many years ago when you were a young man and I was a young maiden.
Mm-hmm.
Many years ago, yes. And we were on the commission, and now you're a grandfather, so boy, has time flown, huh?
Yes.
And I've always, as Michelle said, your sense of humor sometimes was tough and sometimes a little blue, but nevertheless, you always gave us a good time. And to think back that when you started, we really had nothing for kids today, then. No feels, how you worked so hard to get some of this stuff done. And that we sit here with so many accomplishments now, really by and large, are to your help and achievements. And I congratulate you for that. And you've helped the town, you've helped the commission, and whatever you've done for children helps the state. And I'm really proud to know you.
Thank you very much.
Do we have any other comments? And you'll all get a chance later to make comments.
No, I just wanted to thank Buzz for everything he has done, as already has been set forth. Me personally, I admire everything that you have done. When I first joined this commission, I wasn't exactly sure what I was getting myself into or what I was doing. But when I first met you and your direction, your humor, your guidance, it really helped liven it up for me, to get me inspired, to get fired up, to actually get involved in what matters to the community. So I don't think without you, Buzz, I probably wouldn't have had that fire kind of lit inside myself and for others in this commission. So I want to personally thank you for your service, and it's been an honor working with you, Buzz.
Thank you.
I echo the same, everything everybody else is saying. I've known you for a long time, through our mutual connection. And seeing what the parks were 15 years ago when my kids were little, playing Little League, to what you had a hand in creating. It's, through the help of Brian and everybody else that's been on the commission in the past. It's very impressive. And when the opening came up a couple of years ago, and to sit on the commission with you guys and try and make a difference in the community, your example was what inspired me to join up. So kudos to you, and good job, and we'll see you around.
Thank you.
Any other?
Yes, I'm the last one. So as the newest commissioner, I've only been here for a few months, so I don't know those stories of the past and everything that Buzz has done, other than what I've heard mostly tonight, but some in the past. But I just hope that I could, provide a fraction of the support to the town that you have, and maybe I'll be here for another 18 years. So maybe I can hit that 19-year.
I hope so. I hope so.
Good luck to you, Buzz.
Yes, I thank you all for the kind words, and I know it was hard to say those kind words. It's I've been a lucky guy because I started on this commission a long time ago, and there wasn't much in our parks, and that was one of the goals we had was lights on the ball fields, different playground equipments and things like that. So we have come a long way, and it's been a struggle with monies and different things, but I've had the opportunity to work with many directors, many commissioners, and we've all had the same goal, and it's been community. Nobody's ever had a personal agenda. It's always been something that we've all got along with, and we've all shared the vision of Prescott Valley. And today I think we should be very, very proud of our parks and the programs we have and the things we've done. And Brian has come along, and he's been one of our better directors. I've seen a lot, and we've been through a lot, and Brian has come. He's made our parks safer. He's given us all more education on what we've needed to know. And all I can say is thank you for all of the opportunity and all of the great people and wonderful people I've had a chance to work with. It's been wonderful. Now the next chapter of my life is trying to be a grandpa. And that's going to take quite a bit of my time.
Well, it's kind of hard to believe you're giving this up to change diapers. But
well, I'm still babysitting. I'm still babysitting.
But, when you think of it, you've given 19 years of service, and we're all just volunteers, so the pay isn't really great. And just to make the community better. And the community is the people, so the kids playing sports. We look at statistics every month for Little League and soccer and swimming and skating and on and on. And all of that, we work, and you've done that for 19 years to make this community better. So thank you.
Well, thank you all. Thank you very much.
Okay, now let us move on. We have an opportunity, unscheduled public appearances. If anybody wants to, Dave, it looks like you want to make a comment.
Well, you have to, Dave, you should know you have to come up and talk into the microphone. I can't hear a word you're saying. I thank you, Dave, for all that. And as I'm getting older, the dementia has set in, and there's not a lot I can remember on the way back. But thank you, Dave.
Thank you. Are there any other public comments?
We're Nancy and Brian Biggs. We own Prescott Home Realty. We want to speak on behalf of the trails. We are not officially members living in Prescott Valley, although we'd love to be if you guys ever incorporate the Prescott Country Club. You guys have done just a fabulous job over the years. We really appreciate all the work you've done. We are avid mountain bikers, and we've been biking mostly on Prescott trails for lack of trails in Prescott Valley. And so we end up driving 2, 3, 4 times a week, a half an hour to get into Prescott to ride on a mountain bike trail. And we would love to have some trail access in Prescott Valley to ride locally. I recall when I was a kid of 10, 11, 12 years old, I had a little BMX bike, and I used to go out on the trails behind my house. And that was a really good way for me to expend all my energy and not get into trouble doing something else, because I had some place to go and something to do. And I think there's a lot of areas around here that would be amenable to trails, clearly up on Glassford Hill Road, areas back behind Stone Ridge that I would love to hook into the Circle Trail, and then maybe even down, I don't know if it's Agua Fria or Lynx Creek, down through Fane Park in that area. I think there's a lot of places that would be great for trails if you could see a fit way to make that happen.
And thank you again for your efforts, and congratulations, sir, that you're amazing, obviously. We're also realtors in the community, and when we are showing homes and talking to people both selling in Prescott Valley, Prescott Country Club, Prescott, we really promote these trails, and they are a hot ticket item for people being interested in moving here. So if we could promote more in Prescott Valley, we sure would like to do that, and we hope we can assist you in any way you need to make that happen. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And just to add to that, we are very interested in trails in Prescott Valley. And of course with Pat, who is probably has 2 or 3 mountain bikes on his car right now, but
they're all in the garage.
We are looking for opportunities. Some of our hindrance has been not having the right to the land. Glassford Hill, as you know, the town made an exchange, and we do have some property in the back that has potential. We have plans for trails up, but that's state land, and we have been talking to the state for a long time without any results. So, but some of the other areas you mentioned, I think, really have some potential. So maybe there's an opportunity for us to bring in the design team and take a look at some of these and see what we can do next year.
Sure. And we are also board members of PIMBA, Prescott Mountain Bike Alliance, and we can say that PIMBA would be very glad to help build some of those trails if you can get them laid out and designed.
Excellent.
And appreciate you guys coming in and stepping up and talking about it, because I think there is a opportunity in Prescott Valley to have recreational trails here. So thank you for taking your time. And as we all know, it starts with a few people willing to volunteer their time to do the work. So we appreciate you guys stepping in.
And before you go, one thing this commission has always noticed is trails are very important. We've always had that vision on trails. We were able to get city trails, mainly for safety of children and such. And now with the mountain biking and the things coming, it's been a vision of ours. It's just the ways and the monies is what's stopping a lot of it from happening. But it is in the future.
Perfect. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
Yeah. Well, you know, if we end up getting some actual design guidelines, that gives us opportunity to work towards getting money in. So,
well, and I think
thank
that,
you.
That plays to what Patrick presented earlier this evening too, is working
Exactly.
together, and now we have the contact to bring in when we get to that phase.
Okay, very good. Any other public comments? Okay, we'll move on, and our Last item is our next meetings. Our regular meeting is Tuesday, August 11th. Of course, we're off the month of July. And that will be right here at 6:30 in the auditorium. We have a work-study meeting scheduled. Let's see, we already approved that, right? Okay. Work-study meeting approved for August 25th. That'll be at 5:30 in the Parks and Rec Department conference room. There again, we're going to continue the work on the development guidelines, and I imagine you'll have some more information ready for us. Thank you. Okay, and then our final item is adjournment.
Before we adjourn, Ron, I'd just like to say, I'd like to encourage the public to come out. What you've heard tonight from most of the commissioners is they got on this commission, they have no experience on parks, recreation, and everything. I encourage all the citizens out in Prescott Valley, get involved. Get involved in, if Parks and Recs isn't your commission, there's other commissions out there. Get back involved in this stuff. It's a lot of fun. You meet a lot of people. You learn a lot of things. And you're making great improvements for our town. So I encourage any of you out there, there's going to be a spot open on the Parks and Recs Commission. There's a spot open on Arts and Cultures Commission, if you any of you have that up your sleeve. But I encourage you, become a volunteer for the town, because it is rewarding in many, many ways, and it's been a lot of fun.
You're absolutely correct. And we do let volunteers bring babies. Just wanted to mention that. Okay, then the last item is adjournment.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
I second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? And we are adjourned. Thank you.